I was leaving the South to fling myself into the unknown. I was taking a part of the South to transplant in alien soil, to see if it could grow differently, if it could drink of new and cool rains, bend in strange wind, respond to the warmth of other suns, and perhaps to bloom. Richard Wright. I was intrigued by the phrase other suns. There is only one sun, but everyone experiences it differently. To some, the sun rises, it shines bright, and its warmth is easily felt. But to others, though its light penetrates the day, sometimes the clouds keep its face hidden, and its warmth cannot be felt. Wait, do that one more time. I only got halfway through.
You ready?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Chicago!
Really?
Yeah, really.
I was crying.
I know. You still cry.
You know, I used to always tease and say, okay, I want to be like Abraham, and didn't know what that meant. I said that a long time ago. Oh, Abraham was the father of faith, but Abraham had a lot of big tests. So I kind of retracted that, saying, okay, God, I really don't want to be exactly like Abraham, but I can understand some of the things that he had to do. And this is like an Abrahamic walk, leaving your comfort, leaving your family, your father and your mother, your business, your vocation, your cheerleaders, and going somewhere else who people don't even know you. You know.
A base, a foundation. That oasis of a place where we can all come together as a family and be. And where anybody, if they're going through any transition in their life, wherever they are, they know that they have a home base to come back to. The place to explore, the place to be, just be. And to grow and to develop, that's like the key of what excites me.
No, I just don't want to.
Come on, it's cute.
You have anything for Edward Moore?
Hey! You could have left the door open or something. Come on. No!
Know where you are. I don't know where you are in Texas. Well, so how you guys paired up? You got
Me and Aaron.
Hello.
hey baby.
And then, the dynamic duo in the other car in the turtle.
New Edition in El Dorado, I used to, there was a fawn, a baby deer, and he would eat out of your hands. And one morning we woke up to this terrible scream, and we jumped up and ran, and they had taken a big hook. You know what I'm talking about?
You know.
Big hook. And hit him in the head with it to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know why they did that. And then they had nerve enough to bring us some meat, and we couldn't eat it because he was a pet. And that was just hot. He was a baby.
That's good eating.
That's what they thought, but we couldn't eat it. I couldn't eat it.
My cousin,
That was
they had
terrible.
killed a hog, and they knocked the hog in the head.
Yeah.
They struck him, but then they stabbed the hog. Then they had a barrel of water. They put the hog down in the barrel of water to get the hair off it. you know, to get this scald hog, it burn and make the hair come off. That hog woke up and jumped and come out that barrel and ran down. I don't know how that hog got out that barrel. The barrel was just big enough that hog get down in. His legs would fold up under. That hog come out that barrel and down through the field the hog went. And they tell me, come back here. You know, you got to be kidding.
So he got away.
No, they had to shoot him. They had to shoot him because that hog was gonna come back. They had to shoot that hog.
My father was a carpenter and a bricklayer, and he also was a farmer. And we raised all kinds of animals, chickens, hogs, cows, and ducks, pigs. I did say hogs already, didn't I? And huge gardens. My father and mother believed in fresh vegetables, so they had a huge garden, and they raised everything in that garden that we ate.
We living in town, and people come, the farmers come to get people from town to go out there and work for them. So I went out there one time, and the stuff was, well, we were chopping corn. It's easily chop corn because you can tell corn from weeds and stuff real easy. But then when we finished that, we over the cotton patch. And the cotton is wasn't much cotton anyway. Wasn't much cotton and you supposed to just cut the weeds around the cotton corn. The guy come looked at mine and all of I clean thing because all of the weeds to me.
You cut down the cotton and left the weeds.
No, I could cut down everything.
I didn't know him then. That was before that was when we were teenagers and stuff. I was in Tennessee and he was up here.
The cotton was bad anyway.
There
wasn't much cotton out there anyway. So the guy come look and said, "You cutting out?" I said, "Oh, all of that is all of that is grass." And so he's looking, but he get mad at me because his cotton didn't go.
He cut down all of man's cotton.
You know, so he told me, you don't come back. Okay. Oh, okay.
Most of my time in Arkansas was in the field, in the cotton field. Okay, that's why I started it. Working for $3 a day. No, $2.50 a day. 11 hours a day.
$11 in the day?
No, 11 hours a day.
Oh.
And how much did
but
you
$2.50 a day. That is we working 11 hours and a half. No, 11 hours, because we would take an hour off for lunch. You know.
And pay for
Go to work. We work from 6 to 6. Yeah.
How much?
$2 a day.
Not an hour.
$2 a day, all day long. When I did the first day, I had no shoes on. Working, it was in the land. It's sandy. It's hot. Cotton had no shade, you know. So you just got to try to.
Deal.
The Lord was with me. The Lord with me. Yeah, one of my feet didn't burn up. Yeah.
And there wasn't no jobs, because when I got out of high school, there was no jobs for young people in the South, black especially, because you couldn't do them but work for white folks, and I didn't want to do that. That wasn't my job. I could not see myself working in the house for white people. My mother didn't either. She never worked for white people. She worked for us, took care of us, and that's how we make it. But most of the, well, I won't say most, some of the black people the women especially, they cooked for the white people and they took care of their houses and they raised their kids. But we didn't do that. That wasn't for us. Because my father was gone and mama took care of her children, and she didn't want us scattered around with white people. And she always told us, you're just as important as they are. Because when I was a kid, they wanted us to call them white kids call them Miss. You know, it was really bad. They wanted us to call them Mr. and Miss. And I said, oh, they're the same age as me. I ain't gonna call them no Mr. and Miss. Mm-hmm. But that's what the South was like. They wanted you to call their kids, you know, by their, you know, Mr. So-and-so. I said, let me get out of here. I couldn't deal with that.
I came to Chicago because your granddaddy came. He came, and so I worked and finished my job in the South, and then I came in 1964. He came before I did.
I had a friend came from Chicago. He told me, actually, what was I doing? I told him I had done construction work at the building a gym at the school. And he said, man, come on, go back with me to Chicago. He said, you make all kind of money doing construction work. So I came back Chicago with him. And that's the reason I came here, because of that. But when I got here, my brother-in-law asked me what kind of work was I looking for. And I told him construction work. He said, well, you got to know somebody in Mayor Davis' office to get the construction job here. And I told him I know the Lord. And I went downtown. The first day I went downtown looking for a job, I got it. And I worked 34 years on one job.
One Thanksgiving, we went on a visit to Texas, and all my family was there, and so at the same time we had exchange students, so we brought him down there, and we were just touring the land, hearing the stories about the land and all that kind of stuff. And I think a bunch of men were having a conversation, and Ed kind of got caught up in that conversation, and I think the seed got planted in him from them about coming down to that land.
I think there was a lot of things that weren't passed down, or abilities that, or plans of how to become self-sustaining in our community. And I know that's something that should be done, or can be done. But when I saw that we had an opportunity to be on land that was owned by family, that's a big jump, a big help, you know. So that was a pull to go and do something that's already yours and then build upon that. I've been in jobs where abilities and talents, regardless, can easily be looked over, or if not looked over, taken advantage of, and never acknowledged financially. And it's not just financially, but just to say, you know, to acknowledge that you really created something, or you really put your all into it. I don't want to spend all my life spending money on something that won't ever, you know, replenish the next generation.
The Beck brothers. One of them's a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
And they do all kind of things. One named General Lee. General Lee Beck.
Oh, wow.
I said, is that the nickname? He said, no. That's his name. General Lee.
Here's some more history of Minerva, who was my great-grandfather's mother.
My granddaddy's mother, and she was a blue-eyed Indian with the hair down past her buttocks. She had real long, pretty hair and just blue eyes. And one of the Covens took to her. Back in that time, they couldn't stay in the same house. They couldn't stay under the same roof. So he built 2 houses, one right next to each other. And she stayed. He would go and visit her, and he would go home, go to his house, which was a walking, 10 or 12 steps from each other.
Someone, whoever this, oh, this is Dorothy May. So this is Dorothy May giving this history. Said, I have heard all my life that she was from the Madagascar Island in the Indian Ocean, southeast coast of Africa. She said she was a slave and auctioned off in Georgia as a cook. Her sisters and brothers were auctioned off, and they never saw each other again. In his life, he and I.P. Starr, a family friend, would work for his brother William by day and night to clear their land. Don't know when he started acquiring land, but he and Mr. Starr and Uncle William would buy land together. My mother and father accumulated more than 300 acres. He never let his children work for other people. He never beat or misused us. I've always thought we were special and loved.
So Coven had a few sons. Well, he had, there was about 3, I think Papa had 3 fully white brothers, and maybe 1 or 2 that weren't all white, that were mixed. And Mr. Coven gave all of his sons 200 or 300 acres apiece. And that's how the Wrights acquired this property.
One of his quotes was, I'll die and go to hell first. He had a 3rd grade education. Being self-taught, born of a raped mother into a society that didn't respect him, growing up with hate and being called a wild red man. Only God was able to save my father.
Why you want to go back to the South? Why you want to put yourself in that area? Because people have overcome, and that's what the enemy wants you to do. Not come back. Not take what has been sacrificed for you and leave it there for somebody else to glean. But because it was sacrificed for you, hey, go and get what's yours. It's yours. And be excited about what's yours.
I've lived on the West Coast. I lived on the East Coast. I lived in the North, in the Midwest, and I've lived in the South. What surprised me of moving from Chicago and Minnesota down to the South was that the South never let go of the war. So they kept talking about the war. I'm like, what war are you talking about? So the Civil War was still so ever present in the consciousness of people in the South. It was just amazing to me. But what I discovered over time is that I would rather live in the South than the North, because racism still exists. White people don't like you in the North, and they don't like you in the South. Racism still exists. The difference is whether you see it or not. So I understood when you run across white people that were racist or prejudiced or whatever the case may be, you absolutely knew it. They didn't hide it. They knew it. They rode around with their trucks and different things with Confederate flags on it or whatever. It was very clear. And I appreciate that. And you know what you're dealing with. In the North, the same attitudes still exist. The same prejudice, the racism still exists, but it's underneath the surface. And so they smile in your face but the attitudes are still there, and it still permeates your existence. In the North, although people migrated there for job opportunities, from a land perspective, which to me is really where wealth lies, we didn't own a whole lot of land. We owned stuff. And owning stuff and owning land are two different things. And the wealth that comes from knowing how to maintain a garden, grow your own food, sustain yourself, those skill sets and that knowledge base was lost in the generations after people migrated to the north.
In the 1960s, my grandparents moved from small towns in Arkansas and Mississippi to settle in Chicago, Illinois. This year, my parents moved from Chicago to the small city of Longview, Texas. Both my parents and grandparents made these moves to fulfill a desire. My grandparents wanted better job opportunities outside of sharecropping and housework. My parents want to own, manage, and cultivate acres of land. They hope to build wealth for future generations. These are two movements, two migrations, and different decades. These migrations speak the same language of wanting better, deserving better, with the intention of reinventing. The intention of reinventing oneself, one's state of being, and one's reality.